Welcome back to PixelPromenade Intersections, Bridging Boundaries, Co-Creating Tomorrow. I'm Nico Marzian, your host, and thank you for joining me today. Last time I spoke about Colab, the designed infrastructure and platform framework that makes cross-boundary collaboration technically and organizationally possible. Today comes the second pillar, and the one I feel most personally connected to. People in the middle. I want to ask you to think of someone. Not anybody, but neither the CEO, not the technical architect, and not the person with the biggest title in the room. Think of the person who actually made a complex collaboration work, who sat across from the engineer and translated their concern into something the business leader could act on. Who walked into a room full of people from 3 different industries and found the thread connecting them all. Who kept the goal visible when everything else was pulling in different directions. Competing timelines, conflicting priorities, organizations that had never worked together and were not even entirely sure they trusted each other yet. In my experience, that person is rarely recognized for exactly what they did. They are called a project manager, a consultant, a business developer, or simply present. Their specific contribution is almost never named. And when they are not in the room, the collaboration quietly stalls. Do you know that situation? I call these persons people in the middle and count myself as one of them. And here is what they actually do. The person in the middle operates in the space between levels, functions, organizations, and disciplines. Their work has 4 distinct dimensions. First, connection, knowing who should be in conversation with whom and making that happen. And structural connection, bringing the data scientist into the room with the city planner 6 weeks before anyone else realizes that conversation is critical. Second, translation, turning the language of one domain into something another can follow and act on, not simplifying, reframing. The legal concern becomes a governance design question. The technical constraint becomes a product decision. And the research finding becomes a business case. Third, moderation. Holding the process together when tensions emerge. And they always do, don't they? Different organizations have different risk tolerances, different decision speeds, different cultures around what it means to commit. A person in the middle does not suppress those tensions. They surface them early, name them clearly, and help the group move through them rather than around them. And fourth, navigation, keeping people oriented toward the shared goal as complexity grows. Someone has to hold the map of where the collaboration is actually trying to go, and also make sure that map stays shared. None of this is simple work. It requires genuine strategic capability, deep listening, pattern recognition, and hard-won domain knowledge that only comes from having been in many different rooms and fields over many years. Here is what the absence of this role looks like. A consortium launches a data sharing initiative. Everyone agrees it is the right thing to do. Then the lawyers get involved. And the IT departments, and the executives who have to approve what gets shared. 3 months pass, and nothing has moved. Not because the will was not there, but because no one's job was to sit in the middle of that complexity and move it. Most organizations are built for internal delivery. Their roles and incentive systems are designed around executing within a boundary, not navigating across multiple boundaries simultaneously. The person in the middle is, by definition, a cross-boundary role. It does not fit neatly into an org chart, so it either goes unnamed or it gets distributed informally across people who were not resourced for it and who eventually prioritize the job they were actually hired to do. Or even worse, forced to do that job because it is seen as so much more important than anything else. This function exists at 3 levels. At the individual level, the person with the skills, the disposition, and the experience to work across boundaries. At the organizational level, a deliberate function named and resourced with a mandate that extends beyond a single project. And at the systemic level, within a collab ecosystem, a designed role with defined responsibilities, governance rights, and platform tools to do the work at scale. This is what makes the function sustainable and reproducible across a whole ecosystem, rather than dependent on finding the right individual every time and hoping they stay. So, look at the collaborations you are part of or responsible for. Is there a person in the middle? Not a name, in function. Someone whose actual job is to connect, translate, and moderate, and navigate across the boundaries that define your collaboration. If the answer is unclear, or if the role is being carried invisibly by someone who was not resourced for it, that is the structural gap to address first. If you already have such persons in your organization, or have encouraged them to develop that range of competencies, then embrace them. True people in the middle love having that vast perspective, empowering them to follow their calling, supporting them, letting them do their work, will bring them fulfillment and give you collaborations that are successful, lasting, and scaling, and also profitable. Next time, the third pillar, applied data intelligence, the sensing layer that turns shared information into shared understanding, and the principle that separates useful data work from expensive noise. Thank you for watching. For now, please take care, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.